You're listening to the Plane Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carla Stevings, Matt Smith and Neville Bounds.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 266 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in a warm again this week PTUK studio is my co-host, Matt Smith.
It's always warm in here. Stop, hush your ramble.
We're going to have to get AC fitted in here, I think, for the summertime.
Are we? Oh,
because it is... I have a feeling it's going to be slightly warm.
Right, okay, all right. I mean, I'm not entirely sure that the budget can handle that.
Probably not, no. Neither can your exchange, I think, with
no,
the
indeed.
power.
There is that, yes.
But how are you, Matt?
Yes, I'm all right, thank you. Yes, not bad, mate. Not bad at all. It's been a busy old week in the old driving stakes.
Oh, well.
It's even busier week next week. I've just had my worksheet. I'm going to all sorts of places.
Are you?
Yes, although I did actually go to my favourite place this week. I actually got to spend on Tuesday, after the bank holiday, I got to spend a very delightful morning and afternoon in, first of all, in Sheringham for the...
oh, that's nice.
Yes, rather like partial to a bit of North Norfolk. So Sheringham and Cromer on a day trip. A day trip. You know what one of those is. A day trip. That was jolly nice. I'm not going to lie. It was jolly nice.
No Londiniums next week?
No, not. Hopefully not. Not as things stand at the moment. There's no Londiniums at the moment.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have got a Gressin.
Oh, Gressin Hall.
That's it. Gressin
Gressing Hall.
Yeah, I've got a
oh, you're going to love that, mate. You've been there before.
Oh, of course I have. Yeah,
it's awesome. I love Gressing Hall. It's such a nice place.
It is. Unfortunately, I'm going like when the schools are there, so nothing's open. But you know,
you see, listeners, me and Matt do live, as Armando knows, we do live in the butt end of nowhere.
Excuse me. Let me correct that. We live in a very beautiful.
I was going to get to that. We do live in the butt end of nowhere, but we do have some very nice places in and around where we live. So it's quite nice.
Indeed.
So. Not joining us this week because he is unfortunately sunning himself somewhere in Europe somewhere, I think.
I noticed he's in the chat room, however.
He's in the chat room. He's Neville Bound. So I know Neville's in the chat room, so we're going to say hello to Neville this week. And Nev, I hope you're having fun in your 10-star hotel.
Yes, now he has sent us some pictures, by the way.
Nev's hotel room.
But yes, I assume that is the picture that I'm putting up. It looks like some kind of castle that would only be suitable enough for the Sir Neville of Bounds. Where exactly is that, Mr. Bounds, as you're in the chat room there? Because it looks absolutely beautiful. It's some like cathedral. I dare say Armando will be able to tell us immediately where it is.
Well, it's not in Bungay.
No, you know what? I actually don't know. I don't think I've ever been where he is.
Oh dear. Never mind. Yes, and of course the mandatory menus, of course, in regards to he's giving Captain Al a run for his money with his prime steaks, and I don't even know what that
nerdy.
Means. KNRDY.
Oh,
nerdy.
I get it.
Oh, I see.
God, blimey! You have had a busy week.
I have had a busy week. Yes, absolutely. But you know, he's having a tough time of it. Bless him.
Poor Nev. Poor Nev.
Yeah.
So joining us as well, as we have just heard this week, is the other awesome co-host of the show. It is, of course, our man Armando.
Hey guys, as always, it's happy to be here and glad to be back. And just like last week, it is storming outside. So if I make it through the whole podcast, I'm going to be surprised. But
oh no,
I'm looking at a perfect textbook like anvil thunderstorm outside my windows.
Really? Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to have to, for future shows, Armando, you're going to have another camera set up looking outside so you can sort of switch cameras and show us the amazing weather that you have.
Well, we need for the rest of his stuff to actually arrive before we start getting too clever.
Yeah, it'll be just like that, the airport webcams. I'll just have one that faces in and one that faces out towards the yard.
So you were saying earlier, Armando, that your sort of your equipment and stuff from the UK is being brought to you by rowboat, was it?
Yeah, you know, it is coming by boat, and I guess half the shipment arrived and then the other half has not. So somewhere along the way it got split into two different boats, and it's all just material stuff. I'm not particularly emotionally attached to any of it. So if anything sinks to the bottom of the ocean, I'm perfectly fine with just the insurance money and just getting all new IKEA stuff.
Oh, right. Of course, other devices are available, of course. Yeah.
So we're going to say a big welcome then to everyone who's joined us in the live YouTube chat room this evening. All the usual family members in there this week. James Candraw, hello to you, James. We've got John Pickard, hello to you. Richard Adams, Mash is in the chat room. Philip Davis is in the chat room. We've got Tanya W is in the chat room. Pilot Pip's in the chat room as well. Nice to see you, Pip. Haven't had a segment from Pip for a while, have we?
Oh, stop.
Dig. And, of course, carrying our blue spanner of death as well this week is our main man, Micah. So hello to you, Micah. Hope you're well over there in Maine.
Indeed.
So it is the 26th of April. Damn, these days keep going by so quick. 26th of April, and it's just
you realise it's almost May?
I know.
That's really...
That is scary.
That's just... And I've just realised our calendar is 2 months behind.
Oh, we need to change our calendar in here.
Turn that over. Well, I was rather enjoying the Emirates picture you see.
The 380,
yeah. Is that what it is? Okay,
we need another camera to face the calendar up there.
Blimey.
That'd be good.
It's already warm enough in this studio as it is. Please don't let me put up... Don't make me put up any more lights or...
So we've got loads of news to get through this week, and we've also got our special military segment, as brought to us by Armando. And we've also got a little bit of information in regards to our Duxford meetup, so that's coming up later on in the show. But we are going to start the show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're ready, Matt.
Born ready.
And if you're ready, Armando.
I'm ready to go.
Let's go. So, kicking off this week's first news story on the Forbes.com website. And it's a subject we've touched on before on the show, and I think it's one that if anyone's going to travel long haul, you'd expect things to be slightly more cleanly when you get to your seat on the aircraft. This is airline passenger is arrested after complaining about vomit on the seat.
Oh, really?
So... This latest airline incident has travellers asking, what are your rights on an aircraft? So on April the 20th, a woman was arrested after complaining about vomit on her daughter's seat on a Frontier Airlines flight from Las Vegas to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. Oh, hello, Armando. According to passenger Rosetta Swiney, she asked a flight attendant for her help when she found the vomit-soaked seat, but was met with a terse reaction. She turned around to me and said, "That's not my job," she told the paper. Frontier Airlines said in a statement that it shared with the column that the flight attendant apologised and immediately invited the mother and her teenage daughter to move to either end of the aircraft so that the seat area could be cleaned. The airline also claimed that Swinney became disruptive, but according to witnesses, the flight attendant didn't try to reassign the seat or clean the area, and a video taken by another passenger shows Swiney calmly waiting for the situation to be resolved. When the airline said that Swiney would have to deplane, she refused and was subsequently arrested. Bit harsh, really. Besides the chilling fact that an airline can easily kick passengers off flights and even have them arrested, the incident calls into question what rights passengers have when it comes to the quality of their actual airline seat. Last year, a Michigan man said Delta Airlines told him he had to sit in a seat covered with dog feces, while a Boston woman claims her daughter was forced to sit in a urine-soaked seat on an 11-hour British Airways flight. I think we covered that earlier on, in the year. But I suppose it does beg the question, what are your rights when it turns out to be this kind of thing? So passengers essentially have no rights according to the contract of carriage. The passenger passively agrees to the airline's guarantee. Nothing, says Joe Brantinelli, founder of Joe Sent Me, the website for business travellers, not even to take you to the destination on your ticket. So they're under no obligation to honour your seat assignment, move you to something better, or less awful, do anything they don't want you to do. The US Department of Transportation outlines passengers' rights in its Fly Rights Consumer Guide, but there's no mention of the quality of the seat. Frontier Airlines, which doesn't mention the topic on its contract of carriage, didn't respond to any requests asking about passenger rights when it comes to the airline seat. Now, I think it's fairly safe to say that if you were travelling any kind of flight, albeit a short-haul flight or a long-haul flight, and you got to your seat and it was covered in vomit, I don't think you'd want to sit in that seat for very long, Mr. Smith.
It's not my favourite smell, certainly.
No.
It's, as bodily fluids go, it's definitely high on my list of things I don't want to be anywhere near. There are a few others I can think of which I would also not like to be near. I don't know. Again, perhaps I'm being overly cynical here, but it's this whole their word against yours type scenario again, though, isn't it?
But it's probably a 320, so you've got well over 140 witnesses.
Yeah, I know, but they're not being mentioned in this story. Sorry, Armando, carry on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say exactly that. I'm sure there's two sides to this story, and I see where the flight attendant is coming from. So this falls under customer service. Yeah. I don't think that's. I don't think you need to start digging into the contract for carriage.
No,
that's the fine print when you buy a plane ticket. But this falls under customer service, and probably a situation that escalated fairly. Well, it didn't look like. I watched the video, and it wasn't a quick escalation, but I think every airline handles these kind of situations different. Every airport handles the situations different, and then even on the airport, there's different law enforcement authorities. So you may have state police, you may have a local police, an airport police authority, and each one of those folks has a different way of handling a situation like this. So when I was watching the video, the sheriff's deputies that came onto the airplane just said, you know what? Before anything escalates, everybody gather your luggage, and everybody is deplaning. So which is, a way to do it. Yeah. And you don't want a confrontation in the airplane. And then, do you want the captain and the first officer involved? No, because if somebody throws something at them, now you've got a crew member that's incapacitated. You still have the flight attendants back there. So there's a lot of aspects to this situation. Should she have been arrested? Probably not. But it doesn't say.
Are we missing an important piece of the information in the fact that perhaps, because obviously this particular article is sort of talking about is essentially her side of the story. I mean, she could well have become quite abusive, quite aggressive, because travel does different things to different people. She could have been very tired, and perhaps she wasn't responding in an appropriate manner, which is why perhaps the law enforcement agencies were involved.
Sure, and likewise, maybe the flight attendant was tired and was absolutely, had all those things. Maybe it's her 6th trip for that day, or she's on her 3rd day of a 4-day trip, and her patience is running a little low, and maybe the airplane was full. Maybe there was no place to move it. What are you going to do? You can't put somebody else in that seat. No. So it's either you have to deplane or sit in it,
Yeah, no, I agree.
Or get a carrier bag and put on the seat. There you go. Quick I think if this was a business class seat or a first class seat,
that's very different.
You'd have to be a bit
careful.
Yeah. So moving on to the next story, and I really love this story because this is awesome. Matt's going to read it, but there is a little video that hopefully we can put in after the story. But Matt, this story just tickled me because I just thought Really?
See, I mean, when I was sort of thumbing through the show notes and stuff, I mean, I read this story and thinking Carlos would absolutely love to live in this house, but also equally his long-suffering better half would. Well, she'd never let you buy the house that close anyway. So this is on. Brace yourselves, everyone, because this story is on the Daily Star. But to be fair, I have seen it on BBC and stuff as well. It says Brits fury as planes taxiing just 150 feet away from home. A bloody jet in the garden is the headline. Fuming homeowner Janet Marchant says an airport revamp means that there are 50 jets a day now taxiing at the bottom of her garden. OAP Mrs Marchant, 67, don't know why that's relevant, claims a new runway strip at Southend Airport, Essex means a jet is taxiing just 150 feet from her back garden every 20 minutes. The retired newsagent says that she has lived in her bungalow near the airport with husband Paul for 7 years without any problems, but recent changes to the airport taxiing arrangement have left big passenger jets lining up close to her home while waiting to take off at 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day. Janet says the constant noise and the smell of fumes from the garden has made the lives of her and her neighbours a misery. She said you can't have a conversation in the garden with anyone because you can't hear them. When we are inside with the door closed, we have to pause the TV until the plane has gone past. We worry about our grandchildren coming round, and the enjoyment of having people over for barbecues has been ruined. It's I love my garden. I used to do a lot of gardening, but now it's all spoilt by the noise and smell. Janet said that she worried about the damage it would do to the value of her house. She added, you do worry if you have a house viewing and there's a huge plane sat at the bottom of the garden. Every plane is legitimate, but it's a nuisance, and is it morally right? Now, I mean, I won't go on because it's sort of covering the same thing. There's some amazing pictures, actually.
I wouldn't be able to concentrate living there. I'd just not want to go to work.
Well, there is that, yeah. I mean, well,
God, what an awesome place to live. What are they moaning for?
Yeah. Now, I mean, to be so, there's a little bit of a bit of video here that I'm going to try and what
about you, Armando? I mean, Armando, look, you'd love this.
I would love this, and I think. I think it's unfortunate that they published the lady's name because there's about 7,000 PTUK listeners that would now like to go over there for a barbecue. Like maybe we should just plan our next meetup at Mrs. Merchant's house.
Maybe we should do our 300th show from there.
Yeah, I think all of us would love this. Tony S in the chat room says he wants that house.
Yeah.
Maybe Micah. Yeah, absolutely. So, something tells me that the Southend Airport has probably been there for a lot longer than,
I mean, it does say in the story that the problem has been exacerbated by the fact that that it's. Oh, hello.
Richard Adams has just put in the chat room great drone footage of their garden. Oops.
Good point. Good point. Well made. I mean, I'm going to suggest that perhaps it was actually out of a bedroom window. So
probably,
I think that's the more likely scenario.
That's actually a good assumption, Matt.
Yeah. I think
otherwise somebody's going to get in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah.
no, Armando's right. The place has been there, and John Picard has said it's been there since the 1930s. This.
I mean, to be fair, it does say in the story about the fact that the only reason the problem has been exacerbated is because of expansion.
Yeah.
They've moved like the taxiways and things like that. So perhaps in their defence, perhaps it wasn't anywhere near as bad.
Could you imagine the meetup we could have there, though?
Right. Okay, well, I'll leave you to get in touch with her, shall I? See if she's up for us having a barbecue.
Oh, that would be such a cool meetup,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you may get quite a frosty reception.
Maybe we can convince her of how lucky she is.
Right, yeah. I mean, we could certainly give it a go.
Our main man Mike has just put in the chat room, oh my, I didn't notice the airport when I was shopping for a house. Morons.
Okay, right. Okay, well, you can always rely on Micah.
Personally, I think the house price has gone up considerably in that house. This couple.
Well, I mean, obviously the price will have gone through the roof now because it's been mentioned on PT UK. Obviously, I mean,
100%.
That would be precisely what it is. I mean, there are now 10,000 people who wouldn't mind going and buying it. As you do, absolutely.
So next,
so if she does want to put a house on the market, I think what she needs to do is write to us.
Write to us.
What we'll do is we'll send Nev, we'll send the crew, the film crew round, and we'll have it. We'll have it sold in no time. I tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time Nev's finished all his marvelous editing and stuff, it'll be award winning. That's what it'll be. Award winning.
See that
great
home?
studio.
Homes under the hammer. That'd be good.
Don't if I could afford. Oh, yeah, make a great studio. I mean, it may be.
You would need a green screen.
No, we could just do it from the bottom of the garden.
Exactly.
Yeah, indeed.
So anyway, moving on to the next story, and Armando, a bit of a troubling story here.
Yeah, this is from the independent.co.uk. An Air India plane caught fire while on the tarmac at Delhi Airport. The Boeing 777 jet, which was due to fly from the Indian capital to San Francisco, caught fire during repair work. The fire was in the auxiliary power unit, or the APU, which provides electricity to power the aircraft when on the ground at the rear of the aircraft. The airline, India's national carrier, called it a minor incident. In footage of the fire from the news agency ANI, one of the airport's fire engines is shown immediately dousing the back of the plane in water. The plane was believed to be empty while it was being repaired. In a statement to India Today, the airline said that airport fire personnel observed black fumes from the APU exhausts. After this event, the APU was examined by opening its cowlings. There was no trace of any burn or external damage noticed, except for minor oil leaks traces, which was normal. Detailed inspection is ongoing. This is not the first time a plane has caught fire while on the tarmac. Earlier this month, 3 passengers fled onto the wing of an aircraft in Russia after they saw flames coming from the engine of a Boeing 737. This kind of goes on a little bit, but I don't think this is, to me, this is a big nothing burger, as we say. I saw the video. Yeah, I'm sure there was a maintainer on the, or an engineer, as you guys call them, on the flight deck when this work was being performed. So obviously, if the fire services responded that quickly, then there was probably somebody nearby, because there was most likely an indication or something in the flight deck.
Absolutely. Well, yes, there must have been a light or something going on saying hello. Something's
There
not
was
right
definitely
here.
a light on the back.
Yeah. Well, there was definitely a light.
A very glowing light.
Yeah, there's a big red light in the back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that should be enough, shouldn't it? I mean, come on.
I mean, let's be fair. If an aircraft is going to catch fire, on the ground is probably
on the ground in front of a
be.
massive red fire truck is about as safe as it's going to get, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and the APU is just a jet engine.
Yeah.
It's just a tiny little
Baby
jet
one.
engine. So I mean, it's got fuel going to it. It's got oil. It's got everything that would
Catch
be a
fire very
catalyst
easily.
for fire. Yeah. So I think these are probably more common than you might think.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's just that.
Luckily, there was nobody on board.
But then it's one of these things, isn't it? I suppose where as technology and everybody's got high definition video cameras all in their pockets now. So
some of the videos you see online nowadays of the aircraft and stuff, you think, what, they're using a Nokia 3310 or?
Well, right. Well, there is that, but it's like a lot of people. You think like your phone, my phone, Armando's phone. They've all got HD cameras in them. I mean,
4K.
These things are appearing to be more common, perhaps because we're capturing them more than they were. These things were perhaps happening as readily as they appear to be now. It's just that people didn't have cameras in their pocket to sort of film it. Perhaps.
I completely agree with you, Matt. I think that's a big part of it, is now the ability to live stream, to put it immediately on any of the social media platforms.
Absolutely.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, this is it, and of course, the media in general, mainstream media especially, is sort of almost hungry for aviation disaster type content, aren't they? So it's whether it be accurate or not. So
a lot of love in the chat room for the backdrop.
Oh, is
Mr.
there?
Smith, yes.
Yeah, actually, this was taken. I've got a lovely one that hopefully we'll have in a few weeks' time. There's obviously this is from Duxford, as everybody would notice it's from the American hangar, and this picture was taken by Jonathan Warner when we were there a couple of Saturdays ago.
Yeah,
So
it looks good.
Yeah,
Apart from your hand keeps disappearing when you stretch out.
What is it?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's really scary. That's so.
Yeah.
The aardvark is eating your hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. For those of you who
You're
watched,
spoiling the magic.
I know.
Carlos.
For those of you who watched the show last week, will know we had Brian Coleman on the show.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the next.
And I think this is the. I may be speaking out of turn here. I think this is possibly one of the most dampest squid. Livery changes I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was going to come to that.
Yeah.
This story is next one story is on the usatoday.com website. The United flaunts new branding, faces mixed reactions on social media. So United Airlines' new livery is finally ready to hit the skies, though not everyone on Twitter thought the airline had stuck the landing. United released a video late on Tuesday night of its new branding ahead of a celebration in Chicago on Wednesday. The airline had been teasing the makeover on social media for the last week. They said that our new livery has been cleared for takeoff. The airline wrote in a tweet, "Stay tuned right here for more of our celebration in Chicago on that day." So the new livery heavily features the airline's signature colour blue in 3 different shades, according to the statement. That will keep they're going to keep the globe logo on the aircraft tail. But it will be tweaked with a gradient in these blue shades. Other parts of the aircraft will also incorporate a mix of the 3 colours. United had updated its brand palette last year with these new and other new colours, limiting its use of the gold colour. Every aircraft will also have United's mission painted on its door, have the words "Connecting People, Uniting the World." Very nice. The first aircraft to get the new paint job is a Boeing 737-800. United unveiled new uniforms as well, for 70,000 employees. Blimey, they've got some employees there. But earlier in the day, not everyone on social media was celebrating the update. One Twitter user wasn't impressed, channeling the character Jim Halpert from The Office. He said, "I don't like it. The old continental style livery was nice with the blue and gold colours," a fellow user wrote. "This has just become boring, and in the blue it's much too in your face." United merged with Continental Airlines back in 2010. But not everyone was unhappy with United's new look. However, finally livery, which is better than the old one, someone else said. "Congrats at United," another user wrote. "Personally, I like it," someone else said. People also engaged in a discussion about the importance of livery and marketing around it. Unless the colour of the aircraft is going to affect whether or not you book a flight with the carrier, what is the point of quite so much of an armchair quarterbacking of the new United livery? Another user posted. So, I mean, I agree with Matt. I saw this livery when it came out early this week, and the tail is nice with the globe. I just think the United branding on the side of the fuselage, for me, is just a bit...
It's so generic.
Boring.
There's no...
I mean, I love blue. My favourite colour's blue. I'll put it out there. But
I quite like the blue with the gold, because essentially the only thing that's more or less... I mean, all right, there's, the font is slightly different. Never be excited because it's a bolder font. I mean, that's about the only thing I could give you. As I say, but it's, the only thing that's really different there was essentially the gold... The globe, the lines were gold rather than light blue. I mean, it's just... I mean, all I will say is thank goodness for ANA.
Yeah.
Who, make exciting, it's...
Alaska Airlines.
This is so corporately boring.
I think one of the problems is nowadays we are so used to big mainstream airlines having these amazing liveries, like with the Alaska Airlines having the salmon painted on their aircraft and all these fantastic designs, the turtle.
No, but they seem to be moving away from sort of, eye-catching, eye-popping.
Oh, these
sort of
United
exciting.
definitely are.
I mean, it's just so generic.
What do you think, Armando? Come on, this is over your side of the pond.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. I'm glad that they kept the globe. I mean, I'm a fan of the tulip, the United Tulip, but I think Continental Airlines has a lot of history. So I'm glad that they kept the globe, getting rid of the gold stripes. Maybe that saved a little bit of money. Like Micah in the chat room says, probably the only people that are going to notice is going to be us that say, oh yeah, that's the swooshy stripe instead of the straight stripe. But in their rebranding efforts, one thing I've never been accused of is being a fashionista. But
now? What even is one of those?
Yeah, me and fashion don't go together. But I do like their new flight attendant uniforms.
Right.
I think they're a little bit of a hark back to the vintage retro styles and themes. They also went with purple. I think Delta went with purple too. So maybe there's a psychiatrist somewhere that says purple is a soothing color on an airplane.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that'll be what it is.
The male flight attendant, I'm not too crazy about, but the female flight attendant uniforms and all of the pilot uniforms, I'm a fan of. But
so you like the uniforms, but not so much. Yeah, you like the uniforms, but not so much the livery of the plane. So I'm just going to whiz through the chat room very quickly. So Liz says the new livery leaves me cold, frankly. Yeah, fair enough. Paul Tricker says maybe someone had a jodlop of blue, but even so, use your imagination at least. I'm very much with you on that one, Paul. Tanya actually saying that I was pretty meh about it, but seeing the photo of it in daylight made me like it a little more, which is interesting. Again, Liz is saying I don't understand why Lufthansa and United both removed the gold accents. I don't know whether it's because gold sort of suggests perhaps lots of money and stuff. I don't know. It is, but and then Micah says it's just a plane spelt Plain. Livery
very good.
That looks so much like the previous one that no one but we geeks will even notice. To be fair, that might be part of the reason why, actually, because you think perhaps they don't want to sort of move. They don't want to sort of unbrand the brand that everybody knows. But again, Mike is saying it looks like every other aircraft out there. Bring back cheat lines and stop the white blobs.
As a cost point, right? You know what it's like when you buy a white car or a white van, or I have a white van, or a white. It's a bugger to keep clean.
Right. Okay.
And there's a lot of white with this United livery.
I mean,
a lot of white.
If you're buying the aircraft brand new, I mean, they have to paint it because it's. I mean, if you've ever been lucky enough, I mean, obviously I've been lucky. I've been to Toulouse and stuff. They're actually green when they start off. So I mean, they can be. If you're buying a brand new one, I mean, they can be any colour you want them to be. They don't have to be. Be that, but yes, it's safe to say that it's left most people feeling quite cold about the whole experience. Yeah.
So moving on to the next story, Matt, and a nice little Ryanair, a lovely little Ryanair story for you.
Right. Okay. Ryanair for a change.
This one suits you down to the ground.
Really brace yourselves. Here we go. So this is the metro.co.uk. It's the free newspaper you get on the tube if you're in London as well. Ryanair flight forced to turn around after chef drank a gallon of beer. A chef who drank a whole gallon of beer before boarding a Ryanair flight caused so much disruption on board that the plane was forced to turn around. Ahead of a stag do in Tenerife, oh dear, Stuart Leith from Frodsham in Cheshire drank 10 pints before boarding his flight from Manchester Airport on March the 7th. But before the flight even left the ground, the chef made a meal of the situation as he refused to sit down and put his seatbelt on during a routine safety announcement to passengers. When cabin crew realised the 28-year-old was heavily intoxicated, the flight was turned around and Leith was arrested 20 minutes later. Despite his rowdy behaviour, police escorted him back to the airport the next day so that he could board another Ryanair flight to Tenerife to join his fellow revellers. Leith appeared at Manchester Magistrates Court on Thursday after pleading guilty to being drunk on board an aircraft. He was fined £500 and made to pay £150 in court costs. Prosecuting Rachel Yarwood said this offence dates back to March the 7th on board a Ryanair flight to Tenerife. As the flight embarked at 5 p.m, the crew were trying to give a safety announcement. The defendant refused to listen and sit down. Because of his intoxicated state, the flight turned round on the ground and the defendant was arrested. In the interview, he said he didn't remember much of what happened. He said that he'd had about 10 pints of lager before getting on the plane. He said that he drank before he got to the airport and had about 5 drinks at the airport bar. I hope he wasn't driving. He said that he regrets the disruption that he caused to the passengers because the flight had to turn around. It was about 20 minutes later he was arrested after the plane docked up. He has 2 previous convictions for 3 offences, but none relevant to this one. Okay, why are you even sharing that with us then? His defence lawyer, Jane Shaw, said that he had pleaded guilty at the earliest opportunity and he has made a full and frank admission. The Crown has not said that any threats were made. The crew were going through the safety announcements and he was refusing to put his seatbelt on. He has made a stupid mistake. He was going on his friend's stag do and he was drinking before he got to the airport, and when he got there he was mortified with what has happened and he is embarrassed and very remorseful. He works as a chef and he is a roaming chef between 3 restaurants. He tells me that he works 40 to 60 hours a week and that it's very tiring for him. He explained to me that this is a one-off, and when he was released, the police officer took him back to the airport the next day to fly back on holiday. So it's not serious enough that Ryanair, who have discretion to refuse anybody back on a flight, they let him back on. A small part of me is thinking that perhaps he should have been charged for the costs involved. Personally, I think if we do a little bit more of that, where we're charging these people who are disrupting flights, I think maybe they should be
10 pints, Matt.
I mean, I'm practically anyone's after 3, so
I know. I'd be.
Remember, that's 10 before he showed up to the airport. And then 5 afterwards.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
I think there was a documentary about a newsman, and there was a line from it that said, "I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed."
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, how do we feel about this? Do you think they should start sort of, because obviously this will have cost both Ryanair and the airport and everything. I mean, I don't know. I suppose they hadn't disembarked the passengers, so they hadn't.
If he brought those 10 pints at the airport, that definitely cost him.
Well, there is that.
Let's be honest here.
Yes, there is that. But I think they need to do a bit more of this. When if a flight is having to be diverted and taken back to the stand or whatever. I mean, it's. It shouldn't really be the
flight hadn't taken off here, but obviously it would have delayed the flight, which is obviously going to cost the airline money.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know what happens if you lose your slot. Do you have to?
Oh, it's a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, but do you have to then? Does it cost you more money to get another slot?
I don't think it costs more money, but it's obviously the aircraft is burning fuel. I mean, when the announcements start on the in the cabin for the safety announcements, the engines are already turning. The aircraft's burning fuel. Which is not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, he was charged with a total 650 pounds by the court, but yeah, what about Ryanair? Not that Ryanair needs the money.
No, I know. I mean, and of course, Ryanair is the worst airline in the world in which you want them to sort of be given money by the person that was on the ground.
I suppose if there was an airline that's going to charge you for turning the airplane back to the gate from the ramp, it would be Ryanair.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's, or it's the multiple trips to the toilet that he was no doubt having to make in that short time he was on the plane. They'd made money hand over fist. But
Ryanair, where you pay per flush.
I see. Yeah, right.
There we go. So moving on, the next story, Armando, and I thought you'd better have this story rather than Matt.
Oh,
okay. This is from the CBC, which is in Canada. Boeing has made changes to its 737 MAX airliner and conducted more than 130 test flights to show that apparent problems have been fixed in the wake of the 2 deadly crashes we've talked about. Convincing passengers will be much harder. Passengers are afraid of this airplane. Aviation industry analyst Henry Hartevelt says, "I haven't seen anything like this in decades. in terms of consumer fear and desire to avoid flying on the 737 MAX. Little wonder, given all the media coverage showing that a system designed for safety may have been a factor in the crashes involving both Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines. The airlines struggled at low altitude, then plummeted. I think we've talked about that plenty. Let's see. The Boeing's safety system known as the MCAS to maneuver the horizontal stabilizer, 737 Max's tail to force the plane's nose down. I'm trying to get to the part which is the selling. Okay, so here we go. The sell to the passengers. The Boeing 737 has been a popular workhorse for airlines around the world, but after the second crash of the revamped MAX model, a poll conducted by Business Insider suggested that 53% of American adults never want to fly on a 737 MAX, even once it's deemed safe to do so. Boeing was dealt a further blow over the weekend when the New York Times warned of concerns at the factory producing the Boeing's other crown jewel, the 787 Dreamliner. Past and current employees tell the Times that they warned both the manufacturer and the regulator of sloppy work habits such as debris sealed inside airframes. I think we talked about that in the military KC-46 stories too, right?
Yeah.
Boeing stands by its wide-body jets. Let's see. The article goes on. In addition to the passengers, you have to sell it. Now Boeing has to sell it back to the airlines. So it's a perpetual battle to market for the market supremacy with rival Airbus. Boeing raced to develop the 737 MAX to offer airlines a more fuel-efficient version of the 737. Let's see.
See now, I mean, we talked about this briefly, didn't we? Sort of last week, and weirdly, I kind of feel like when this is finally allowed back in the air. I mean, weirdly, I would almost go so far as surely it's going to be literally one of the safest aircraft in the air now. I mean, in some respects, that would make me more keen to be a passenger on it, because I mean that thing is going to be gone over with every single one is going to be gone over with a fine tooth comb, not only by Boeing but I dare say CIA, and that will be, I mean, they'll be looking for anything, won't they? Anything that could possibly trip it up. So I mean, weirdly, I've despite being a very nervous flyer, I'm kind of like the other way, where actually when they do all right, these two awful things have happened, but when they are back in the air, I can't help but feel that this is probably going to be one of the safest aircraft out there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Boeing can't afford another mishap. And you know, kind of, this is one of those things, right? So it goes back to what you were talking about, Matt. So with social media nowadays, like, so if there's a certain, we'll use coaches for instance, right? If there's a certain brand or mark of coach that is having problems or has an abnormally high frequency of engine fires or something going out, does the general public know that, I'm not getting on a, you know, this brand coach.
I'm not getting on a Plaxton because it's, you know, it's just like, sorry, I'm saying, sorry.
No.
They both look confused. Sorry.
I know, Plaxton.
So, I mean, I'm curious as to who was polled in that poll. How many people know that they're getting on a 737 MAX 8 as opposed to a 737-800 or an NG or how many people get on the airplane and go, hey, is this an MD-88 or is this an A321? Because I heard these things fall out of the sky.
Yeah,
probably not a lot. And, you know. Who was the chat room can correct me, but what was the airplane? Was it the what was the British airplane that with the square windows, and they figured out
the
that
Comet.
Was the problem?
The Comet.
It was a Comet, right? Yeah. So I mean, they figured it out, and then the Comet went on to become one of the best aircraft
Yeah, well, which is obviously what's going to happen in this scenario. Actually, you mentioned the chat room. One of what they're saying, Liz says that, but you're applying logic, Mac. Most people would just be working on emotion, which is a good point, I suppose. Tony says it was a good point, and also let's not forget the pilots will be extra cautious. I mean, they'll be looking for any slight, perhaps a slight anomaly which under normal circumstances, say the standard 737, perhaps people would, a pilot would sort of oh no, that's all right, they're going to literally get out the manual almost, aren't they, to sort of to look at it. Micah is saying the DC-10 had issues before, so did the early 737s on with involving the rudders, which is interesting.
And it became the world's best airline.
Well, absolutely. I mean, not being funny. I mean, you've got Ryanair, who basically has an entire fleet of them. I mean, it's if it wasn't a decent aircraft, then it wouldn't. They wouldn't be using it, would they? Mm.
Yeah, there's been back when you look back at the DC-10 and stuff, when the DC-10 was around, such as Micah said on there, they had the issues with the cargo doors blowing out and stuff on those. Yeah. Really serious, a couple of really bad incidents with that back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. But people still, and they're still flying. DC-10s are still flying now. Well, mostly it's cargo, but there's still DC-10s flying now. Mm.
Yes, apparently Southwest also an all 737 airline that is now looking at the A220.
Oh.
Yeah, that's from Micah. That is, it's actually the 220, because we saw that at Farnborough, didn't we? And there was a lot of interest in that when it was there, wasn't there? Yeah.
So welcome to Dr. Steph. She's joined us in the chat room.
Hello, Dr.
Hello, Dr. Steph. So next story is on the CNN.com, edition.cnn.com channel, and the headline: EasyJet here in the UK are banning peanuts on all of their flights. So not only will the British-based budget airline no longer serve peanuts to passengers, but also passengers are being asked not to consume products containing nuts in order to protect travellers with allergies. The move comes after a mounting consumer pressure which has seen airlines such as Qantas, Southwest Airlines, Lufthansa, British Airways all remove peanut snacks from all their flights. However, most say that they cannot guarantee a nut-free environment due to cross-contamination. This means customers with peanut and peanut dust allergies still need to indicate their allergies when booking flights at the airport. EasyJet, which primarily serves the European market, has a specific option on its booking page for such requests. The safety and welfare of all the customers and crew is at the highest priority, so we have a number of procedures in place to assist customers when travelling with a nut allergy, a spokesperson for the low-cost airline said in a statement. They ask that any customer with a nut allergy notify us ahead of travel, and they will request that other passengers travelling on that flight do not consume any products containing nuts that they have brought with them on board. They've also stopped the sale of peanuts on board. We'll be removing the last product from the in-flight range which contains nuts in the few coming months. While the airline concedes it's not possible to ban nuts on all flights, as other passengers may bring them on board with them, despite being requested not to do so, it will take action in extreme cases. When the passenger who suffers from a severe nut allergy which can result in anaphylaxis is travelling with us, we will request that other passengers travelling on the flight do not consume nuts that have brought with them on board, the spokesperson added. According to a study by a medical journal, JAMA Network Open, 1 in 10 adults in the US have a food allergy, with peanuts and shellfish among the most common. In 2017, a separate study published by the in the World Allergy Organization journal found that around 2.2% of onboard medical emergencies were caused by allergic reactions. Still not everyone supports removing certain foods from the friendly skies. Last year, Southwest's decision to remove peanuts from its flights caused some pushback, with the National Peanut Board, a peanut industry group, vehemently disagreeing with the airline's decision.
Oh, dear. Actually, now I was chatting. Ironically, I was chatting with one of my friends this week about this very subject. And my friend Dan, he's a storm chaser, and he's off to the States next month to literally go storm chasing. And I was making lots of inquiries about who he flies out there with and stuff. But he's got a very severe nut allergy, so it is a real thing for him. I mean, people don't sort of realise, the effects. I
have two very good friends of mine who both got nut allergies.
Absolutely, but I mean, he's sad because we were actually talking about this EasyJet story where EasyJet had banned peanuts. And he was saying that's good. I think most airlines don't offer nuts anymore. Americans stopped a few years back, but then reintroduced them. So I vowed not to travel with them. And incidentally, he's flying out to the States with BA. So. Yeah.
Neil Landwarner said in the chat room, EasyJet can't guarantee a nut-free environment. There must be a joke there.
I see.
Very good,
right,
Neil.
Yes, I see what you. I know two pilots who work for EasyJet. They're both nuts. I can confirm.
What do you think, Armando? Are you nuts about this or?
I think this is probably a fairly simple and easy step when compared to the possible liability that they could find themselves in.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it.
I love peanuts. I absolutely.
I do, but
I'm gonna buy some tomorrow.
But I don't love them enough that if I'm on a flight with them and it could literally. No. I can live without them for the 7 hours that I'm on a flight. Do you know what I mean? If I'm that desperate for them, I'll have some when I get on the ground.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd much rather that people around me aren't basically going to go into shock as a result of the fact that I'm enjoying my dry roasted nuts.
So moving on to the next story, and Matt, it's another Ryanair story, but it's a good news one this time, especially for any of our listeners who live in and around Croatia.
Yeah, indeed. So it's on a website which I don't even know how to start to pronounce, but I want to say exuaviation.com. So it's exyuaviation.com. And the headline is Ryanair is hiring in Croatia. Europe's largest airline, Ryanair, will be hiring Croatian cabin crew members. The carrier will host a recruitment day in Zadar on the 16th of May. Requirements include good knowledge of English, both written and spoken, an EU passport, and that's anyone from the UK out then, an EU passport and good computer skills. Selected candidates will take part in an intensive 6-week training course which covers all aspects of the job from passenger safety to customer service. It should be noted that a fee is associated with the training process, although it can be deducted from the salary later. Successful applicants will receive a highly competitive package, including a 2-year contract, staff travel rates, a potential productivity bonus of €1.8 per year. 1.8 euros? I see. Right, yeah. What? Sorry?
It must be 1,800 euros.
Yeah, 1,800 euros, because it looks like 1 point. Yeah. And a competitive rate salary plus variable flight pay. Registration for the Zadar recruitment process is due the 12th of May. Further requirements and the registration form can be found here. Now, actually, what's interesting about this is I was reading some of the comments underneath, actually, and one of the people was asking, like, why did they close the base in the first place? Because they did have a base there before, and then they were sort of basically talking about, this chat group was sort of saying basically that the bringing tourists into the town essentially. So I don't really quite know why. It just sort of seems to be they obviously had a base there and then they did away with it. But well, there we
have to ask one of our people in the know.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we know it. We don't know anybody there anymore, do we?
I don't think we do.
No.
So moving on to the next story, Armando. This one's for you.
Yeah, this is from North Wales Live. Actually, just kidding. No, it's not. It's the Daily Post. It just had an advertisement for North Wales Live.
Oh.
I was like, the Welsh are
taking over the world. Yes.
Printing stories about. Well, I guess Airbus's factory is in Wales, though. Is it?
They do build parts in Wales, yeah.
Do they?
Mm.
Yeah, I think so. So it's I don't know if Matt, you can bring up the video, but it's about a 2-minute video from Air Mauritius taking delivery of its first Airbus UK-built A330-900 during a ceremony held in Toulouse. The national carrier of the Republic of Mauritius. Mauritius, is that how you pronounce it? Is the first A330neo operator based in Southern Hemisphere and the first airline in the world to operate a combination of both the A330neo and the A350 XWB. Let's see. The aircraft will feature a two-class cabin with 28 business class seats, 260 economy class seats. The carrier will deploy the aircraft on routes connecting Mauritius to Europe, mainly London and Geneva, India, Southeast Asian routes, and on regional destinations, including Johannesburg, Antananarivo, I've never heard of that, and Reunion Island. It is on lease to Air Mauritius from Air Leasing Corporation. Airbus UK is Broughton Plant manufactures the wings for the Giant aircrafts, Aero Giants aircraft. The CEO said, "I'm delighted to welcome our first Airbus A330neo, another milestone in our fleet modernization program." So, pretty cool video. I love watching stuff. I would love to see this in person. And I know Boeing does a great plant tour. I think Airbus does too, right?
They do, absolutely. The one that myself and Owen went on it when we went a couple of years ago. It's absolutely it's brilliant. I'd recommend an organised tour actually, because the bus sort of takes you to places which you wouldn't be able to go to otherwise. Actually, so it is. It's the whole process is fascinating. Though,
when
it?
you look at the video, you talk about an aircraft being sprayed. You think it's just a load of guys with spray guns giving it that for a few hours. Yeah. But when you look, there's actually a hell of a lot of hands-on,
old school,
work
absolutely.
that goes into putting the paint job and the decals and stuff on the aircraft.
Yeah, it's just it's fascinating watching them do it, isn't it?
That must be one hell of a job to have.
Yeah,
a paint sprayer
absolutely.
for an aircraft.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
But no, look, it does look good though. I must admit that the video for the guys, Matt will obviously put the show notes.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes. Yeah,
the link to the story in the show notes. If you guys take yourselves over to that link on there, that'll have the video on there for you to watch. It's really good, really good.
Yeah, actually, Paul in the chat room is saying would like to see an all UK built aircraft again. Now that would be really good. I unfortunately I don't think in this day and age I don't think that'll ever happen again. Really, I think mainly because of the cost, isn't it? I mean, especially if you want to, you've got to have sort of foreign money involved nowadays, haven't you? Really.
So the next story is on the airlineratings.com site, and it's regarding one of my favourite airlines, Emirates, and they have completed their Boeing refurb ahead of schedule. I knew they would do. So Emirates has completed a $150 million refurbishment of 10 of their Boeing 777-200LRs 3 months ahead of schedule. The 777-200LR project saw the 10 aircraft converted from 3 classes to 2 cabins and the introduction of wider business class seats in a 2-2 format. The airline also refreshed its economy class cabin. The first reconfigured aircraft rolled out for commercial service in March 2018. It took an average of 35 days to reconfigure an aircraft, and the total project executed in-house at Emirates Engineering involved more than 160,000 man-hours. The engineering team worked with 30 suppliers and handled more than 2,700 spare parts at any one time. Destinations served by the long-range aircraft include Adelaide, Santiago, Sao Paulo and Fort Lauderdale. The end of the refurbishment comes as the Dubai-based carrier is poised to wave goodbye to its last Boeing 777-300. The airline has already taken one of its last 2 777-300s, Alpha 6 Echo Mike Victor, out of service and is due to retire the other Alpha 6 Echo Mike X-Ray shortly after. Both were delivered back in 2003, and the departure means that the Dubai carrier's Boeing fleet is now made up of 777-300ERs and the 200 LRs. Emirates' fleet renewal program for 2019 includes retiring a total of 7 older 777 aircraft and taking delivery of 6 new Airbus A380s. A move by the airline in February to reduce the number of A380s it plans to take heralded the end of the Super Jumbo program, as we all know. It swapped its remaining commitments for 40 A330-900s aircraft and 30 A350-900 aircrafts. The 14 additional Super Jumbos Emirates agreed to take until the end of 2021 brought its total A380 order book to 123 units. Emirates flights into Dubai are temporarily reduced at present due to the closure of Dubai International Airport Southern Runway until May the 30th. The airline said closures will result in 48 aircraft not being utilised and a 25% reduction in flights over the 45-day period. Now, Matt showed the picture on the screen just a moment ago of that new business class cabin. I must say that does look really nice, and being someone who has sat in and had a flight on the business class section of Emirates, I mean, that was on the older style one, but they still really do, set a really high benchmark when it comes to, in my view, service and and their cabins. So, yeah, good on Emirates for doing that.
Indeed, absolutely.
Armando?
Yeah, I think it's gorgeous. I think I love the colors that they've chosen. Those seats look. I'd love to have one in my house.
Probably find the old ones on eBay. You could probably buy a complete business class seat for yourself on eBay.
That'd be kind of cool to have in the office, huh?
It's given me an idea, that has now.
Yeah. Oh no, really?
I know. Anyway, I have to get the credit card out.
Yeah.
Next.
Yes.
Well, you'll have to choose between that and the ejection seats that you can buy that we talked about a couple months ago.
Oh yes. Yeah. Perhaps one of
this
each.
is true. This is true.
So
yes.
Next story, Matt, and bit of a worrying one. This one.
Yeah, so this is on the Daily Fail, dailymail.co.uk, and the headline is EasyJet aircraft takes evasive action to avoid crashing into oncoming plane after pilot goes to take off on runway as another jet lands at a German airport. So an EasyJet plane was forced to abort takeoff at a German airport after accelerating down the runway while another plane was still on it. The incident happened on the 17th of April at Hamburg Airport in Germany as the EasyJet plane prepared to head to, is it Basel?
Basel, yeah, I think it's Basel. Yeah.
Basel Airport around 9 p.m. The plane began accelerating down the runway before air traffic controllers noticed that a Turkish Airlines Airbus A321-200 that had just landed from Istanbul was still sitting on the tarmac. Controllers ordered the EasyJet pilots to abort their takeoff, and the plane was forced to make an emergency stop. The EasyJet plane halted 4,265 feet away from its Turkish counterpart. German air traffic control confirmed the incident with the EasyJet aeroplane. A DFS spokeswoman said she could not give any more information as the incident first has to be internally investigated and reviewed. An EasyJet spokeswoman confirmed that the captain of the EasyJet flight Echo Zulu Sierra 1028 from Hamburg to Basel was asked by air traffic control to abort the takeoff as a precautionary measure. The spokeswoman said this was due to another aircraft that had not left the runway according to the rules after air traffic granted clearance for departure. At no time was the safety of the passengers or crew at risk, and the plane later flew on without any further incident. According to local media, the EasyJet aeroplane was ordered by air traffic control to remain for a while on the tarmac waiting area before it was allowed to take off a short while later.
I expect it was to clean up the mess in the
flight
deck, I think.
You're suggesting
after that
people may have soiled themselves slightly. Mind you, I mean, it's. I suppose at that kind of speed, 4,000 odd feet is not really that far away, is it? It's. Yeah. So we've got to wait for further information about what actually happened here, because it is, I have to say, terribly unusual for ATC to make an error of this nature. To be fair. So.
Yeah, and Hamburg Airport in Germany is quite a busy airport as well.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Yeah. I'd imagine their brakes would have been slightly warm.
Yes,
Armando, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the APG guys have talked about this quite a bit. There's pretty significant differences in Europe and in the U.S. When commercial aircraft are cleared for landing and when they're cleared for the approaches. I mean, I think here in the U.S. you could easily have 7 or 8 aircraft stacked up on one runway arriving, and they're squeezing out those departures on the same runway. And it's pretty close here. I think they're a little bit more conservative over in Europe. So, interesting.
So I must admit, because Armando's just sent me a picture actually, and I'm very surprised given this picture that he's just sent me here. I'm amazed you're still online, mate. I'm not going to lie. You've got some horrendous storms going on around near you, haven't you?
Wow, that's right over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking out the window, and it's not looking very pretty right now.
No, I can imagine.
The sky is sort of between yellow and green, and the clouds are getting lower and lower. So
okay, so if you fall offline, we'll know why, because it's just...
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next story is one that actually I heard about first on Wednesday, but this was funny because I saw this on the Aviation Herald, which is a website that we all know and love when it comes to aviation news. But Armando, what do you reckon of this story?
Yeah, so this particular one is from Flight Global, and in what Hong Kong's Aviation Incident Authority classified as serious incident, 2 Cathay Pacific pilots suffered a loss of eyesight on 2 different flights a month apart. Their co-pilots, both first officers, had to take control and subsequently landed the aircraft safely, says Hong Kong's Air Accident Investigation Authority in a media statement. It has classified both incidents as a serious case of flight crew incapacitation. 2 flights involved Boeing 777-300s flying from Sapporo to Hong Kong on 26 January, and an Airbus A350-900 returning to Hong Kong from Perth on 21 February. According to the authorities' preliminary investigation report into the incident, the Airbus A350 was flying somewhere near Manila towards Hong Kong when the captain informed his first officer that he fell out of breath and his vision was impaired.
Whoa.
The first officer, who was not named in the report, then assumed command of the aircraft while the crew sought medical assistance from a medical professional on board the aircraft. The aircraft was carrying 270 passengers, 13 crew members. In the January incident, the aircraft was flying west of Taiwan when the captain experienced a sudden loss of visual acuity for about 30 minutes. First officer also took command of that aircraft, a Boeing 777, which was carrying 348 passengers, 16 crew, after he was informed by the captain, and landed the aircraft safely in Hong Kong. So I will reiterate what the story kind of says, and we've talked about in previous incidents. All first officers are 100% completely qualified to fly that aircraft. There may be specific criteria for a captain to fly certain approaches or have certain restrictions, but all first officers, which makes the case for not having single pilot aircraft.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because I know that's been in the news quite a bit. But in each of these incidents, I'm glad that the captains spoke up. That is a core principle of crew resource management, is to be able to recognize when something is not right, either in the aircraft or in yourself, and then announce it verbally to the rest of the crew so everybody's on the same page and do something about it. So
this is it. I mean, and it is, as you say, a perfect advocate for making sure that there is always more than one pilot in the cockpit. Because
on big long transatlantic flights, obviously you have more than just one crew. You have
absolutely
a kind of sleeping crew while the other crew are flying. So
this is. I mean, I hope certainly in my lifetime that they never go down this route. I can't see. No. I can't see it sort of going down this route where you've only got one pilot in the cockpit there. I mean, there's so much margin for error without, given how aviation is all about safety. I mean, having a second pair of eyes, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I mean, surely that has to remain, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that brings the commercial news segment to a close for this week. Hope you enjoyed those stories. A few interesting ones there. I think that definitely the links will be in the show notes for this week's show if you want to look up.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
before we move on to the military, we'll be right back after these short messages. Woo-hoo.
Find this and other great shows at the Aviation Media Network.
TheVoicesInYourHead.com. The Plain Talking UK podcast is a voluntary project that aims to keep you informed with the latest aviation-related stories from newswires across the globe.
Producing our content does cost money though. If you enjoy our show, why not help us keep on the air by making a donation towards the server and website hosting fees through PayPal. Any contributions would be greatly appreciated.
Are you an Amazon user? If so, why not do your shopping through the link on our website? There's no cost to yourself, and Amazon pay us a small referral fee on qualifying purchases.
To find out more about the show and to meet the team, take yourself to our website www.plaintalkinguk.com,
or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/plaintalkinguk, on Twitter via @plaintalkinguk, or get in touch via email on podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Thanks for listening.
Flybe 5823, Trent Dane for 23 Manchester, Wizz Air 6X, climb flight level 210, direct to Bretlands Park. United 123, maintain 280 knots. London 2TME, turn right onto Bravo, link, 21 join Alpha, hold at Mora, Speedbird 472, LOC/DME, approach runway 27 left, follow the green stand 544.
That's enough air traffic control for today, Nat. Bedtime.
So we came up with the idea of having a video course.
Obviously ours are better because we've got the experience on the aircraft and we know what we need to be looking at.
Something that myself and Andy started initially really to improve our own technical knowledge and put something out there. We saw that there was a gap and this wasn't a media that was being used for this purpose, and our hunch was right because there was obviously a market for it.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to fly a commercial passenger jet? Looked up at the sky and thought, I wish that was me? Well, now anyone has the chance to have a go at flying in a real aircraft simulator. NP Simulations and Flight Experience London, the only official Boeing licensed product of its kind in the UK, offer you the chance to fly anywhere in the world in their fixed base Boeing 737-800 flight simulator. And that's not all. Ground School London offers many different courses for the up-and-coming pilot looking for a start in aviation. With prices starting at just £109, the sky's the limit. So for the ultimate flight simulator experience, or engaging preparatory courses, including those for schools and colleges, check out the websites at www.london.flightexperience.co.uk and www.groundsschoollondon.com, or call on 020 300 40 616. NP Simulations. Fly your dreams.
Welcome back. We haven't played those for a while.
Oh, well, I thought I'd
spoil
it.
That's quite nice. I like it. Quite nice, that was.
Yeah,
very nice. Right, so...
I mean, we didn't do a lot with the time. We just sat here and watched them.
No.
That's what defeats the object.
I was intending on going for a wee, but I've completely forgot.
All right. No need to share quite so much detail with everyone. Thanks.
Anyway, moving on. We've got some military news coming up in a moment, but a certain co-host of the show has been doing a spot of flying. So, Armando, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been incredibly lucky to have, well, whatever you call it, the resources that I do and the connections that I do, because since being back in North Carolina, it's I've gotten a chance to fly already probably 5 different aircraft.
Wow.
And yeah, so before I talk about that one flight you're referring to, I just got recurrent in the Civil Air Patrol aircraft that I fly, and I got to tell you, it's one of the nicest aircraft that I've ever flown. It's a fairly new Cessna 182 T with a G1000 setup, and so I've now flown it 3 days in a row. I will fly it again tomorrow and Sunday, and it's what with the Garmin GFC 700 autopilot will do everything for you, and it's still a Cessna, but it certainly feels like you're in a much bigger, heavier, more capable aircraft. Amazing. But the highlight of the last couple weeks, my lovely bride, Miss Megan, myself, and Dr. Steph finally got to go up in the air. So the plan was to go from one of the local airports west of Charlotte out to Asheville, and as you do, we were just going to go have lunch in Asheville.
As you do, yeah.
$100 hamburger.
Fly back. Yeah. What nowadays is like a $300 hamburger.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it was really interesting. We got out there. I loved flying with Steph. We had a great conversation, Megan and I, after we were sort of done and back at in the Charlotte area. And she said, "Hey, it was really interesting to watch you guys coordinate in the flight deck because it was my rental, but at the same, Steph is very well qualified, and we had a really good time. We were doing the full sort of commercial thing where, hey, pilot flying flies, and then the other pilot takes the radios and the checklists, and we worked I really enjoyed flying with Steph. We got out to Asheville, and it was a pretty cloudy day, so there was an overcast layer about 2,000-3,000 feet AGL, and that part of North Carolina is fairly mountainous. So we got out there, and there was maybe 4 or 5 arrivals coming in on instrument approaches. So the ATC, which we've talked about 1,000 times being incredibly helpful, they told us, hey, you're going to be number 5. If you want to come in here, you're going to be out there waiting. And good crew resource management. Steph and I were sort of talking about it. She was flying the airplane. I was sort of monitoring radios and the maps, and we were sandwiched between a cloud layer and the mountains with about 2,000 feet of clearance between the two. And we both decided, you know what, if we're going to be waiting another 30 minutes out here, it's probably not the smartest idea. So we called up ACC, said, well, hey, thanks for the help. We're going to head out. And we found this great little airport, Rutherford County Airport, with what you can only call a trailer for a cafe, and it was some of the best Mexican food we've ever had. The great burritos. We landed there, and this is, we've talked a lot about the differences between the UK and the US. There's no landing fees. There's no PPRs. There's no prior permission, nothing. We just picked an airport on the map. We put it direct in the GPS, landed there, had lunch, and then flew back home. So it was great little flight. I'll put a segment together. We obviously videotaped it and recorded it. I just didn't have time to edit it. So great. Yeah, I know, right? So I'll have that ready for you guys next week.
Yeah, can't wait. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I really, really enjoyed flying with Steph, and Megan got to see, the North Carolina mountains.
I mean, playing the pictures while you were chatting, I mean, they're just absolutely, just beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful scenery, isn't it? It's just, it is also, I don't think there's anywhere in the world really where there isn't beautiful scenery.
It's definitely not like flying around Rougham. Hey, Armando.
Oh, I loved flying around Rougham. One of my favorite things to do when I had nothing else to do and I was flying by myself was just to go church spotting. So,
you certainly get a lot of those in the UK, yes.
Yeah, there was, there's no shortage of churches and manor homes and castles and going out to the coast. I love flying in the UK. Even East Anglia, which is pretty flat, I thought was beautiful.
You see, he's saying all the right things, isn't he? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks for that, Armando.
Yeah.
We look forward to that segment.
Can't wait.
I'm sure it'll be
going to be good.
Expertly put together, like they always are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Armando, what have you got?
Nev has a complaint, by the way.
Oh, what's he got a complaint about?
Well, during the break there, where we were chatting to amongst ourselves there, hello, sorry. I don't know what I did there. He was busy complaining about the fact that he's just like, could I just point out that I'm slightly inebriated and don't need to read all this rubbish, as we were doing our text chat during the break.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it's nice to know that Nev is having a nice time.
Oh, that's how you interpreted it, as inebriated.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
different connotation in the US.
Yeah, no, it's a family show.
Three sheets to the wind.
3 sheets to the wind. Yes,
Armando.
Lightly sozzled is another option. Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, sorry.
So
I digress slightly.
What's coming up next, Armando?
Yeah, so I think if you guys are ready and Matt, you're ready with the buttons, we'll
Always.
talk about some military stories.
Yeah, let's
go.
Here we go.
All right, so this first story is from thearmytimes.com, and it says Guard aviators will get the newest advanced helicopters before some active Army units. So before I go on with the story, I'll explain to our non-U.S. listeners that the services, the armed services in the U.S. and similar in the U.K., but it's the active duty, the Guard, and the reserve forces, and in some cases the auxiliary. While they are different organizations, at the end of the day, the active duty forces couldn't do their jobs and everything they do without the Guard and the reserves and those sort of citizen warriors, as they're kind of called. But the Guard and the reserves are both just incredibly critical to the defense mission. So I like this story, and I like what it talks about. But let's see, the likely next Army Chief of Staff has made Guard aviators of the future a real part of the service's next step in combat aircraft. Army Vice Chief of Staff General James McConville has said that the newest helicopter under development, which will replace many UH-60 Blackhawks and CH-47 Chinooks, will not go just to the tip of the spear units such as the 101st Airborne Division, 82nd Airborne Division, and the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, but at the same time will arrive at high-priority Army National Guard units. Speaking at the annual meeting of Army Aviation Association of America, McConville estimated that the future long-range assault aircraft could field by 2028 or 2030, according to information provided by Army Times' sister publication, Defense News. Simultaneously, the Army is developing a partial AH-64 Apache replacement, the Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft. The FARA could also go to Army Guard units, said McConville. Traditionally, advanced vehicles, armor, aviation, and other big-ticket equipment fills out the active duty units long before the Guard and Reserve soldiers get their hands on it. When we look at what aviation does, they find stuff and they kill stuff, and that's what they do, said the general in a roundtable with reporters following his remarks. The Apache is the most lethal helicopter in the world right now, and we want to increase that capability moving forward. The other thing aviation does, he said, is move things, whether it's called air assault or mobility. That's where the FLRAA will come in, moving armed helos into places to support dismounted ground troops. Let's see. So I've seen some articles on this FARA and the FLRA, I guess we're calling it, but very advanced capabilities, and traditionally some of this stuff goes to Special Operations Command, but I'm glad to see that our Guard brothers and sisters are sort of really at the forefront of this technological advancement in Army aviation.
Now, I've got to say that Wednesday afternoon, I was muddling away in the warehouse at work and heard the row outside of kind of a helicopter kind of sound.
Right.
Very loud indeed. And it was two of these guys, the Apaches, on doing their kind of low-level training kind of stuff around where we live. And I've got to say, even though the Apache is, I mean, it's an old bus now, isn't it, really? It's getting on a bit age-wise,
yeah,
the Apache.
Getting a little longer.
But I'll tell you what, when you see, because these guys fly over at, 400 or 500 feet, if that, and to see these flying over, they just look awesome. They look they are, without question, and I'm not a huge helicopter fan, but, these look
you know my thoughts
awesome.
on helicopters.
I know, but
yes.
the Apaches are just so good.
Helicopters are made at Hogwarts. I don't know where the Osprey was born. I mean that's just the most. It can't make. It's neither one nor the other. That is. It's just like.
I think these are going to be like the B-52s, Armando. I think the Apache is going to go on forever and ever.
Well, I mean, the Cobras are still in use, and they're the AH-1, and that's been around since the late 50s, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of airplanes that are kind of still hanging in there. But when we're talking about these technologically advanced aircraft, you're talking helicopters now that are in the sort of 260 to 350 mile per hour range. So they're incredibly fast. And we were talking about the V280 tilt rotor. We were talking about Boeing's new the counter rotating prop, kind of going back in technology a little bit. But that airplane with a pusher propeller is going to be another sort of 300 knot airplane. Yeah. So I think we're probably going to see a lot of major advancements in the helicopter / vertical lift arena here in the next sort of 15, 20 years, I think.
Wow.
So the next story is on the aviationist.com website. It comes with an awesome video as well. Links, again, will be available on the show notes. The headline, this awesome video shows a C-17 Globemaster III flying at low altitude through the StarWars Canyon. It's not the first time the C-17 flies in the Jedi transition, but it's always a pleasure to see the airlifter maneuvering through the canyon. StarWars Canyon, aka Rainbow Canyon, which empties into the Panamint Valley region of Death Valley National Park, has become very popular among serious aviation photographers from around the world whose daily exploit the unique opportunity to shoot military aircraft during their low altitude transit through the so-called Jedi transition. That video looks awesome. While you may happen to see any kind of combat aircraft thundering through canyon, fast jets, including warbirds, are by far the most common visitors to the low-level corridor. However, if you're lucky enough, you can also have the chance to spot heavy airlifters during low-level training. As it happened at least twice in the last few days, when the C-17 Globemaster III, belonging to the 418th Flight Test Squadron, the 412th Test Wing from Edwards Air Force Base, performed some passes in the StarWars Canyon. The following video, which you'll be able to see if you take yourselves over to the link, or for those of you watching the show, you might have just seen that Matt played on the show, shows the pass on April the 18th. As said, it's not the first time the C-17 cargo aircraft flies through the Jedi transition. Still, it's always interesting to see such a heavy aircraft maneuvering at low altitude through the valleys. And it's safe to say that is a stunning video. I've been able to see one of these up close at Pittsburgh when we were over at the wings of a Pittsburgh air show. And I remember actually using the wing.
I hope they do that again, by the way, because that was an amazing. I swear to this day, that's one of the best air shows I've ever been to.
It was a great day.
Because it was so, you were able to get so up close.
And I know. I used the wing of the C-17 there because it was sunny. I wanted to get out of the sun. It was
as you do.
As you do. No, that's a great video on there, Armando. Definitely one for you.
Yeah, it's about time that we get something equivalent to the mock loop. The mock loop. I was in the organization and I had it on my bucket list to get up there, and I never did, to be able to watch aircraft flying like that through the canyons.
Wow. Yeah, I bet it must be literally a sight to behold. It must be one of the most amazing things to witness, really, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm ever back in the UK, I'm gonna definitely look up Jonathan Warner and say, all right, well,
he'll be the one to
take me there. Yes,
yeah. Whatever you need. We're going up to Scotland, or I don't think it's in Scotland. I think it's in. I always knew it by LFA 7. Wherever it is.
Beautiful, that's where it is. Anyway, on to the next story. TheDrive.com is the website, and the headline is Cessna's new Sky. I'll choose my camera, shall I? Why not? As the Cessna's new Sky Courier twin turboprop plane will make a wonderful weapon, apparently. So Cessna is hard at work on a totally new twin turboprop design that will allow the company to go after a relatively underserved market for a small but hardy twin-engine aircraft capable of hauling outsized cargo or passengers into austere locations. And like its singed turboprop Caravan cousin, the Sky Courier seems ideally suited for military applications as well. Sky Courier's performance goals are fairly straightforward: 200 knots max cruise, 900 mile max range, and a 6,000 pound max cargo hauling capacity. Its unpressurized fuselage will feature an oversized cargo door and will be capable of swallowing up 3 standard LD3 shipping containers or 19 passengers. Its gear is designed to handle unprepared airfields, which means the Caravan's rough and tough pedigree carries over. It will also feature a new single-point refueling system and the latest Garmin 1000 avionics suite. But above all else, this aircraft is being designed to run very hard with minimal interruptions. As Cessna's literature says, fly, unload and repeat. What may be attractive to cargo haulers and charter companies will be equally attractive to militaries around the globe. Cessna's Caravan is used by air arms to deliver personnel and cargo to remote areas, or if you live in Beccles, they use it to throw people out of people with parachutes strapped to their back to act as skydiving platforms, and as surveillance and strike assets, with some being armed with AGM-114 Hellfire missiles. Currently, Lebanon, Iraq and Afghanistan fly Hellfire armed combat caravans, which have proven themselves as very efficient hunter-killer platforms over the years. With countries including some in Africa, they also fly US refurbished caravans outfitted for surveillance and reconnaissance. Orbital ATK offers one heavily armed version, which it presently calls the AC-208 Eliminator, on the open market as well. The Sky Courier could not only supplant or supplement the Caravan in some roles, it could also replace Short's Skyvans, thus the Casa 212 and the M28 Skytrucks in service around the globe. The Pentagon has flown the Casa 212 and the M28 in the Special Operations Support role. In particular, the Skytruck, which is built in Poland, and the PC-12, which is of Swiss origin, the former of which is known as the C-145 and the latter as the U-28 in Pentagon parlance, have been worked especially hard by Special Operations Command over the last decade or so. They often operate in some of the most austere locales in the world, executing all sorts of missions. These include transport missions, executing airdrops and providing intelligence products for regional forces. You can read all about their exploits by clicking a link that I can't give you on a YouTube channel. The USAF has also been pining for a mini gunship for some time, a mission Sky Courier could potentially take on. While the Sky Courier could directly replace the C-145 sometime in the future, Cessna is also working on a direct competitor to the highly successful PC-12/U-28. The Cessna Delaney will target the pressurized cabin single turboprop utility corporate private transport market share currently dominated by the PC-12, while leveraging Cessna's massive support network to ease sustainment and lower operating costs. Targeted performance capabilities are very similar to the PC-12, and the ability to operate from rough fields is a key element of the Delaney design, as it is for the PC-12. Cessna claims they can achieve 20% lower operating costs than their competition with this design, a big claim that, if proven to be true, could result in some serious trouble for Pilatus. Both aircraft are slated to be ready for sale by 2020. The Sky Courier's launch customer is FedEx, which already has put in an order for 50. We'll keep you posted on how the programs proceed.
These are great. The pictures on this story, seeing these things with Hellfire missiles, honestly. When you're used to, obviously, there's a picture of a single engine one, which is very similar to the Caravan, with the AC-208 Eliminator with these Hellfire rockets on. I'm sure this is something that Stuart would love to have on his Caravan.
Yeah.
You know.
What, from Beccles Airfield? What's he going to shoot at? I
can think of
parachutist that he just dropped.
I can think of 14 targets, slow moving. But no, this Cessna Sky Courier A few stats on the performance and stuff for this aircraft. Has a cruise speed of 230 miles per hour, which is 370 kilometres per hour. A range of 460 miles, or 400 nautical miles. Has a service ceiling of 25,000 feet and a takeoff distance of 3,300 feet. So there we go. A little bit of spec there for you. That's a good story. This is Armando. I like that aircraft. It looks quite nice.
Yeah, and the Cessna Caravan has been used by the cargo feeders for years and years and years, and so you can't really mess with Cessna's pedigree, or you can't go wrong with Cessna's pedigree. But for them to get into this market and basically put another engine on a Caravan, I think is going to be a huge selling point all over the world, because the Caravan has to be one of the most proliferated aircraft around the world.
Hey, come on, let's be honest here, mate. At the end of the day, it's an aircraft even I've heard of. I mean, that you know, that tells you how popular it is.
Yeah, it buzzes over your yard every day, though.
It does constantly,
well, when the
day
weather's
in,
good.
day out.
When
Well,
the
it looks,
weather's
as I say, apart from the fact it looks like it's going to crash into our yard every time, but that may just be Stuart flying it.
Yeah, he's back flying it again.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I missed my chance too. I would have loved to have flown with Stuart in that Caravan.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
I made that mistake once, Armando.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
dear.
and Carlos is a good flyer, and even he nearly saw his dinner again. That's
that was definitely an experience.
An eye
and a
opener.
half.
We'll go with that. Eye opener.
Yeah, and a chilly one as well. Especially when you're at 12,000 feet and the last jumper jumps out of the door at the back, but leaves it open. I mean, really?
You're expecting a parachutist to shut
the door before
behind them.
Right,
I don't know where to begin to tell you what's wrong with that, Carlos.
Is Dr. Steph still in here? She's probably done it a few times.
Well, yes, I dare say. Well, mind you, Dr. Steph is probably agile enough to be able to sort of hold on to the side of the aircraft
and shut the door,
and then throw herself off.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, thank you for those stories, Armando. As always, well done.
Yeah.
So, start to wrapping up the show now. But we have obviously got news concerning our upcoming Duxford meetup on the 12th of May, which is only
Sunday,
a few
the 12th
weeks
of May.
away.
I noticed you did a post on Facebook earlier in the week, and you forgot to put the date on it.
Did I?
Yes, you did. But never mind. It's all right. Pip corrected you. Don't worry.
I can't remember doing a post on Facebook about that.
Well, somebody did. Well, it wasn't me. That I do.
So yes, Sunday the 12th of May, and we've been looking at the guest list, and we've got quite a good handful of people coming now. So it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, if you want to come, obviously, then the reason why we're asking you to get in touch is because what we're hoping to do. So basically, everybody who arrives at 10 o'clock. And then we're going to go through. So we can do a group booking, but we'll only be able to do it when we all arrive, if you see what I mean. Yeah. Because otherwise, if you're going to do it, otherwise you have to sort of pay for it all in advance. And
so
until we know how many people
if you are going to come to the day,
if you are going
10
to come,
a.m., 10 a.m., Sunday morning, 12th of May, Duxford, meet us at the gate, the ticket office, and there is a nice group discount.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which will save us a few.
So we would be grateful if you could email the show. It's podcast@planetalkinguk.com. That's podcast@planetalkinguk.com. I know Carl and a few other people have all been in touch as well. So podcast@planetalkinguk.com if you're able to come. Just so that we know, so that I know several people who are coming, me included, have got a pass for Duxford, obviously, already. But
Pip's just made a good point.
Oh, go on.
Because Pip's flying in, so we need to make it about 3 hours later.
Stop it,
because Pip's. I'm only going by what he said on his latest podcast. That he was talking. He was doing I think it was his latest podcast. He'd done a thing with Al, and they were chatting together at an airfield. But Pip arrived there late for some reason, and I think he had one of those landings like the one he had at Skiving.
Oh right, a bit bouncy.
Yeah, a bit bouncy. Yes. Pip says call it 11 o'clock, give people a fighting chance.
Well, Pip will get his entry into the museum paid for anyways.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If you're flying in, come when you like.
Yeah.
But,
if you're flying in, it doesn't matter.
But if you're coming by car, then if you can aim to be with us for 10 o'clock. And
I mean, if we say 10, but then obviously we'll we'll give everyone a.
If we know you're coming, obviously, then we will do our best to wait.
Tony S has made a good point in the chat room.
Go on.
If he's bringing Myla in the aircraft, make it 2 p.m.
That's all right. No,
because she'll forget her phone.
No, Myla is being collected by me, so it's all right. Pip hasn't got to worry about that one.
Maybe you should give yourself some extra time.
Now look, stop it, you lot. It was a one-off. Stop being horrible, a lot of you.
Oh, it's gonna be a great day.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah, we just got to pray for some good weather now.
Oh, it will be. Yeah. It'll be. I mean, we'll be burnt. We'll be burnt to. It'll be so hot.
Right. Okay.
That we'll all be burnt to.
You have organised something in the UK before, Carlos, right?
Yes.
Just checking, because you're making it sound like our weather is always fabulous, and the one thing you can usually guarantee in the UK is if you're going to organise something, it's going to rain.
And Matt has just jinxed today live on air. Thanks for that, Matt. So bring your umbrellas, bring your raincoats, and your wellies.
Essentially, cover for all eventualities. It could be anything. It'll probably be snowing. It is only May after all.
Yeah. Bring your tornado watch things. Everything. Because Matt is just
sun cream, the lot. Okay.
You've done exactly what Gemma does every time. Every time. Honestly.
Well, there is a good reason why I am essentially your show wife.
Oh dear, the emails will be flooding in now.
Yes. Yeah.
Teamwork. We just call that teamwork.
Yeah,
it makes the dream work.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh dear.
Teamwork makes.
Right. Well, I throw up then. I'll leave you to bring the show to a close.
So before we bring the show to a close, we are gonna see what Armando's doing this weekend.
Oh yes. What are you up
to? So like I said before, I'll be flying. I'll be flying at Cessna 182 with some cadets. So part of their training syllabus for the Civil Air Patrol is to get a couple powered aircraft flights. So I'll be doing that along with some other pilots and some other ground crew. And that's other than probably going to relax a little bit and go see a movie, that's about it for me.
Ah, very nice.
What about you? What are you up to, Carlos?
Tomorrow I'll be exiting my house at around about 6 p.m. because there'll be floods of women coming into the house
to
have a party. So I'll be going out the door and heading off to go and have a healthy meal at my friend's.
Oh, okay.
And Sunday I will have a day of rest, I think.
Right.
And someone will have a day of hangover. I'm not going to mention any names.
Right. Your lovely wife.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I shall look forward to that.
Yeah. Right, you're a brave man. I'll give you that.
I know.
I'll give you that.
What about you, Matt? You having any roast dinners Sunday?
No. I'm actually going to go and see a friend of mine on Sunday, but I'm off to go and see this.
Oh, is this that blinking Avengers rubbish that everyone's been banging on about?
Take that back. What? Come on, what's the matter with you? I can't wait. I literally can't wait. I'm so excited.
Anyway, moving on. We are going to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined us in the YouTube chat room.
You've never sounded more dramatic. I'm not going to lie.
I'd rather listen to paint dry. Anyway, the emails will be flooding in soon. I'll be welcome. Thank you everyone who's joined us in the. You put me right off now. Thanks to everyone who's joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening. It's great to see everyone in there, and also don't forget to thank as well all our audio downloaders who download the podcast through iTunes, Podbean. What do I use? Stitcher I use on my phone. I think Stitcher I use.
I use the iPod one. It's just like
okay.
Yeah.
Poor boy.
Hey.
So look out for us next week. Nev should be hopefully back next week.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah,
Nev will be back next week. Fingers crossed. Yeah. And Armando, you're going to be back with us again next week?
I believe so.
Excellent.
Very good.
Excellent. So I suppose you better start to wrap up the show completely then and say goodbye to everyone in the chat room and hope you all have a fantastic weekend. That music is so boring. I'd honestly rather listen to the theme tune to the best film in the world, which is obviously National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
What? Oh,
yeah.
Honestly.
It's an odd choice.
Yeah, that is.
In fact, I think I'd rather go to the cinema and watch that film, what you're on about there, in 240p.
What? See,
Yeah.
you see.
I think we've lost all the aviation listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
And on that bombshell, from me, Carlos, here in the PTUK studios, have a lovely weekend and take care, whatever you're doing across the globe, and see you all next Friday.
Indeed,
Goodbye.
yes. Everybody take care. We'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.